Question 20 is unusual because we just did question 19, and that was asking us about the relationship between the passages, and our answer was that the passages disagreed. So now we're being asked, what would they agree on? This is actually a very common question for these double passages in the SAT, and I want to state a very general kind of principle. It's not necessarily always going to be right, but it can help you, I think, in a lot of cases. Normally, the relationship between the passages is that they disagree, okay? They disagree on something. However, they agree on the problem. So they agree on the problem, but they disagree on the solution. Let me write that down. They agree on the problem, but disagree on the solution. So I'm going to use a little bit of a dumb summary of these passages. We've kind of read them through the other questions. We have the blurb, so we have a sense of what's going on. So the problem is that men and women are different. Okay, there's that men and women in society have different roles, have different are treated differently, are viewed differently. The men and women are different, and so that's the problem. The solution for the first passage is that that's good, and that women's way to influence society is by using their difference to their advantage and to affect change by, having good parties and raising good sons and taking care of good husbands. And then the husbands and the sons and the men that they entertain go out into the world and change things that way. So that's passage 1's solution. Passage 2's solution is that's all nonsense, that men and women can advocate for what's right equally. They have the same rights, and so they have a responsibility to make change whatever way they can. So does that summarize the answer? Maybe something is jumping out here, but even still, we can always use strong words to help us cut through these choices and kind of understand and make sure that they match with the passages. So look at choice A. Women have moral duties and responsibilities. Well, they talk a lot about duty in both passages, and the way that women, what their duties are, that they're different duties than men's duties, and so they definitely talk about that. And then the responsibilities is maybe where the two passages disagree. They disagree on what responsibility women have when faced with the idea of slavery and abolition, but they agree that there is a responsibility. So they agree that women have responsibilities. They disagree on what those responsibilities are. So it kind of fits with my idea before. So this is probably the answer, because it's so vague that it kind of captures this disagreement and agreement at the same time. But let's look at the others, because I think the others are much worse. So if A does not jump out as being right, the others should jump out as being wrong. That's how process of elimination is supposed to work. B, men often work selflessly for political change. Well, the word men is a problem here, because if we dumb summary these passages, they're not about men, they're about women. And so why would men be the center point of their agreement? It just doesn't make sense. It's about women. And plus, this word often is a problem for me. I think I said this in another video for this passage, is words that quantify things are very problematic for us on an SAT. Right? Do men work selflessly for political change? Some of them do. I don't know if either passage says that, but some of them do. But do they often work selflessly? Well, those kinds of comparisons about how often something happens, we didn't really get into discussion of time. So that word often is doing a lot of work here. It's very strong, and so we have to be nervous about that word as well. And so that's also going to be a problem in choice C. The ethical obligations of women are often undervalued. Well, they do talk about ethics and morals quite a bit. They talk about responsibilities and obligations quite a bit, but often undervalued, it's not really quantifying that. Maybe they kind of say that they're that women are not having as a strong of a role as I think Grimke certainly would like, passage 2. But, this undervalued is a strong word. But even without that, the word often is a bigger problem for me. It's so consistently a problem on the SAT. So it's a word that I've trained myself to notice and to be skeptical of. Choice D, political activism is as important for women as it is for men. Well, certainly political activism is maybe talked about a little bit, but I don't really remember this comparison coming up that often. And when it does come up, it's passage 2 that says that, or at least says that men and women have the same rights and responsibilities. Passage 1 does not say that. Passage 1 is saying, no, men go out and are politically active and engage in public debate. Women don't do that. Women are quiet, we stay at home, and we influence public debate by raising good children and all that stuff. So it's a problem here because I don't think they would agree on that. I think passage 1 would disagree on this idea. And so that leaves us with what we thought we were going to pick in the beginning, right? Or they both agree that there are duties and responsibilities. They disagree on the specifics of what those duties and responsibilities are, but that's a great thing to see on the SAT is the way that they go about weakening a choice so it can include these two completely different opinions in one correct answer. That's really how the SAT operates. We saw that on the previous question. So just be mindful of that. Weak, vague answers are good because they don't get in the way. They don't cause problems with the lines. And so they're not going to jump out as being right, but that's the challenge. That's how that's why we look for strong words instead, is we'd rather find the words that jump out as being wrong. And then that's how we find these weak answers and confidently pick them. And it works.